I was 18 when I was hospitalized and I found out that I had Crohn's disease. I had never heard of the disease prior to a doctor telling me that I personally had it. It was just strange to be reading these articles knowing that it was me that I was reading about. This is what I was going to deal with and what I was being affected by. My name is Regan, I'm 20 years old, and I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease in 2016. Crohn's disease is an inflammatory bowel disease, and it's very different for each person that it affects. For me personally, I have anemia along with it, so it means being tired a lot and having a hard time going to class sometimes, and it also gives me stomach pains and just kind of affects me while I'm eating, and it makes me very conscious around my friends. To help alleviate the pain that I was feeling from IBD, my doctors prescribed me with lots and lots of medications. The steroids were something that was very difficult for me to cope with mentally and physically. My face was physically changing, my body was changing. It was summertime and I didn't feel comfortable in a swimsuit. I didn't want to hang out with my friends because I looked so different than I did, and that made me feel so isolated. The reason I decided to get into fitness was because it felt like I had some type of control over my body. I could do this workout and for that time being I would feel good. It made me feel like I was taking charge of my body and it was something I could do to help myself. Every area of my life was beginning to be affected. I wanted to feel healthy so desperately. 2 months after I was diagnosed with IBD, I was sitting in a hospital bed again, about to get surgery on my small intestine. It happened very quickly. The medications weren't working and surgery became the only option at that point. My family has been my biggest support system. They have been here for me throughout this whole thing. My dad was the one that took me to the emergency room the night that I was diagnosed. My little sister, she's 15, she definitely keeps me lighthearted. My mom was always coming to me, Regan, I found this website where there are Crohn's patients and you can connect with them and you can relate to them. She had found out about the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation's Take Steps walk. I had no idea what to expect when I was heading into the Take Steps walk last May. And when I was greeted there, the first thing I saw was balloons, and it just felt very celebratory. It didn't feel like this negative event that was happening. It felt like something is happening to us, let's all get together and let's try to find a way to fix it. And I just felt so supported, and it was just overwhelming in every single aspect of the word. People should get involved with the Take Steps and the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation because every single time another person gets involved, we get a little bit closer to finding that cure that we are all hoping for. It's kind of uncomfortable to talk about things that are going wrong with your bowels, and it happens to 1.6 million people. Like, that's a large amount of the population that feels uncomfortable talking about things that are happening to them. Even though it's an invisible illness that other people don't see, it affects people very deeply, and that shouldn't be something that is kind of wary for people that have just been diagnosed with it. Please help my dream of finding a cure for IBD by registering for a Take Steps walk today.